Hello everybody, this is Conquering History Games, and welcome to a new campaign on the channel. This is Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich, where we are going to be playing as the United States. So the first thing I want to mention is, if I've done things right, at the same time there should be 4 videos that have just gone up on my channel. This is just one of them. All 4 of these are campaigns that I intend to finish at some point. I'm just going to sort of gauge, see which one you all are most interested in, and then I'm going to prioritize finishing that one first. So the 4 campaigns that they should be is there's a Pacific States of America run, a MacArthur's America run, and a CSA run. I'm not doing an American Union State one just yet because I haven't really decided on which of the 3 branches I want to go down. It's very interesting, the new country, the new way they've reworked it. It's much more. There's many more options than there was before. But what we're going to be doing today, because a lot of people wanted to see it, and as far as I'm aware, nobody's ever done it, is actually play through a avoiding the Civil War campaign for Kaiserreich, playing as the United States. And I guess you could say this is another guide on how to do it, but I already have in the video that you'll go just check out my guide video on that. And normally, at least in the old version, I would say avoiding the Civil War can sometimes be a little bit of a drag, but I feel that they've made the I guess I should say the late 30s for the United States much more interesting in terms of story and how the political landscape evolves. And you're seeing how, because a lot of the new tree is based on the idea of, well, we just dodged a bullet and we need to now change our institutions at least a little bit to try to avoid this sort of a political crisis happening again. So I think it's pretty interesting, and we're going to kind of be role-playing it a little bit, and also I think this will just be a kind of a calmer campaign for me compared to the very stressful civil wars that happen when you are playing as MacArthur and the CSA. And it's a little bit, well, maybe stressful is a little bit too strong of a word, but the PSA, it's also difficult because you're the weakest of the 4 at the start, on paper. Anyway. Thank you very much, Kaiserreich team, and just tell me about the major events. So we are going to be avoiding the Civil War, so I should actually think a little bit harder about what direction I want to go in. So what I'm thinking is I think we're gonna make a pretty strong navy. I'm thinking something to defend our coastal lines. We're trying to. I'm not gonna say that we're going totally isolationist in this campaign, but we're gonna. We are going to be a little more defensively minded. Am I not building any support equipment? How unusual. All right, let's get some support equipment up and running, and let's get some motorized equipment up and running as well. Research slots. Let's get with the big 3 first. Construction. And yeah, this should be kind of the more comfortable campaign compared to the other ones. I don't know which of these I'm going to go with. I'm probably going to do Grand Battle Plan. Yeah, because I think I worked it out that I'm going to do a different doctrine for each of the 4 campaigns. So I think this is what I'm doing for PSA, MacArthur, this will be peacetime, and this will be the CSA. So, yeah, we're doing Grand Battle Plan doctrine. And, okay, so now it actually matters a little bit where I build infrastructure, since not everything's going to get blown up right away. So let's go over here to Maryland. And as for the ships, we do have the brand new naval tree here, for those of you who weren't aware. I did put out a video talking about it some time ago, but they've got a brand new naval tech tree to reflect the differences in how the world's navies evolved after World War One. Much more dreadnought heavy than before. Look at this. You actually have armored modern heavy carriers, and these all have their own localizations. They have their own little text. So I think that's really cool. It's just more amazing work on the part of the Kaiserreich developers. So we could go for a late destroyer here. Do we have any destroyer bonuses? Submarine developments, battle cruisers, Coast Guard. Yeah, we're probably going to do the destroyers. Trade is the lifeblood of America. Yeah, I think we'll do something like that. And allegedly, according to the progress report, the Navy is balanced the way it should be instead of just battleship spam. So you're actually rewarded for having a diverse Navy. So we'll see how that turns out. For right now, let's just do some... Is there a difference between these? Anyway, let's get some... We'll just get a lot of things going for right now until I think of something else to do. We're gonna, get some submarines, some destroyers, some super heavy dreadnoughts. I'm just putting placeholder things for now. I'm gonna redistribute this later. Let's get a Yorktown up and running, an experimental heavy carrier, and some cruisers as well, improved armor cruiser. Of course, we need some convoys, and what else we got here? Experimental, let's just put the rest in convoys. There we go. So we're eating up some chromium now, and I think we can go to 5 speed. Actually, sorry about that. None of this stuff is super important. Oh, I'm just going to read through this real quick. The United States in 1936. In 1936, the United States of America is gripped by unrelenting crisis. Although unable to avoid the horrors of the First Weltkrieg, which allowed its prosperity to continue well into the 1920s, German victory in the First Weltkrieg, followed by the French and British revolutions, led to the Wall Street crash of 1925. This sent the United States spiraling into the Great Depression and allowed the Berlin stock market to take its place at the forefront of the world's economy. The election of Herbert Hoover in 1928, while initially promising, failed entirely to reverse the decline of the American economy. By 1936, the country had spent over a decade in the midst of the worst financial crisis it had ever seen. This fueled the rise of radical parties in America, from the far-left Socialist Party of America, which as you can see is now the 3 leftists over here, to the far-right American First Party, which is the 3 over here. Hoover's contentious re-election by means of the House of Representatives in 1932 and the ongoing Great Depression means that these countries are unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. Many throughout the country fear the upheaval that would result should one of the extreme parties come to power, or should the depression continue unabated. Because yes, we are. We have some free civilian factories here. Let's work over this area up here. Now, they're not going to break away, so if they do, it's going to hurt now. But we'll be fine. So we do have national spirits. The Great Depression's hurting my industry in several ways. 40% consumer good factories. And let's take a look at Herbert Hoover here. I don't know if you all knew this, but you can actually hover over most of the portraits in Kaiserreich and get a little biography. And so I'm going to try to do that for every president we run into. A former U.S. Secretary of Commerce and now the current President of the United States, Herbert Hoover has solidified his position as one of the most hated men in American history. We've got crime sweeping the nation, John Dillinger and whatnot. Despite only making the Great Depression worse during his first term, Hoover was re-elected through the House of Representatives in 1932, causing widespread outrage. It is a sad reality for the president. Any and all of his attempts for restoring the economy fail. He tries to calm the situation down. His attempts to try to calm the situation down have only made it worse, and even his own party is turning away from him. So, for those of you who don't know the American political system, because I know a lot of my viewers are not American, they're from Europe and Australia and whatnot. Here, we have the Electoral College here, which is sort of a first-past-the-post system. It is a first-past-the-post system, where whoever wins the most votes in an individual state, such as Nebraska or Texas or California or Oregon, they get all the Electoral College points of that. We're talking about presidential stuff. Congressional things are a little different because you got like district stuff within the state. Anyway, so the first-past-the-post system means that if to grossly oversimplify things, let's say there was 10 million people living in Texas and 10,000,001 voted for candidate X instead of Y. Everybody in all of Texas's electoral college votes now go to candidate X instead of Y. So even though he barely won, he gets all of the points. Now, the Electoral College is supposed to add up to a majority, so again, to just oversimplify things, let's say there is 200 Electoral College points distributed over the entire country. You need 101 of those Electoral College points. Now, if you do not get them, which happens when you have a lot of candidates running, and there's a split and nobody has a majority, then it is going to go to the House of Representatives, which is going to be inhabited by people who won the last election, although things can sort of get tricky. There was actually first let's do the coalition ticket and then I'll talk more. Coalition ticket, the 1936 election is looking to be one of the most contentious in American history. Many politicians within the upper circle of the Republican and Democratic parties fear that a victory by the Socialist Party of America or the America First Party would mean the end of America and the American way of life. In order to avoid this, a plan has been proposed within the halls of power to form a coalition ticket between the Republican and Democratic parties, with progressive Senator Floyd Olson of Minnesota as the presidential candidate. Because you can see here, you have these moderate parties in the middle here. So there's the progressives, who are the Social Democrats, Republican Party are the Social Liberals, Democratic Party moderates, Democratic Party conservatives. So he's saying that we all need to work together, because if we all combine our forces, I think there's actually enough that they have a majority. Let's see, 12 plus 8, let's see, we've got 20, 38 plus 12. They have exactly 50% if they all combine. It's likely to be unpopular, so we will form this coalition, and it's going to hurt our stability and political power. Anyway, so there's been some crazy events, though, in American history. There was a... as far as elections go, of course, everybody seems to know about Bush v. Gore. We're going to defend America's trade, by the way. Everybody knows about Bush v. Gore, but there was an election between Rutherford B. Hayes, who was a Republican, and Samuel Tilden, who was a Democrat. I want to say this was in 1876's election, and there were 4 states that were under contention as far as how their votes were counted. And so... and ended up going into Congress to decide what was going on. Are they going to have to recount? Who's getting the votes? And Samuel Tilden, the Democrat, needed every single one of those votes to swing in his favor in order to win the election. And it took a long time for them to figure out how they were going to distribute it. And if I'm remembering correctly, the committee that was going to decide what happened to those votes did not make its decision until about 48 hours before actual inauguration. So that meant the country was 2 days away from its new president assuming office, and they had no idea who it was going to be yet. All right, nominating Quinton Roosevelt. Since the nomination of Senator Olson as the presidential candidate, the politically minded have discussed with great interest the likely vice presidential candidate. Finally putting the rumors to rest, Quinton Roosevelt was announced as the VP for the coalition ticket yesterday in New York City. In his announcement, he emphasized wanting to help bring major reforms to the country through a plan called the Fair Deal. Though this plan was denounced by the Socialist Party of America and American First Party as being nowhere near enough to help the average American, economists believe it may be enough to end the Depression. A deal that is fair and a deal that is square. So this is, Quinton's Fair Deal plan, which we're going to open when we avoid the Civil War. Whoops. Yeah, this is... Wait, no. Here we go, the Fair Deal, which is, of course, based on his father, or, I think the name is supposed to come off of his father, Teddy Roosevelt's Square Deal. So it turns into the Fair Deal. All right, Father Colin, we're just going to say he's a danger to the public, shut him down. I hate what he says, but I defend his right to say it. I'll go with that. It's cost us a bit of stability. Restoration of democracy in Australia. What a shocker. That never happens, right? Oh, yeah, so we have got our divisions here. Let's have them go out here to Kansas or something. I just thought, am I gonna still get to keep all Patton and Butler and everybody? This thought just not occurred to me until right now. I'm gonna have all the best generals. All right, St. Patrick's Day flood. We must help the people. See, we're trying to be a nice government. We're trying to avoid a civil war here. All right, for our field marshal, we just have so many to choose from, so many legendary names here. I think we're going to go with, whoops, no, not MacArthur. No. I think we are going to go with Eisenhower. Armor officer, organizer, logistics wizard, offensive doctrine. Good stuff all around. Let's get the mechanical stuff. Now, we are working our way through this. Let's start, just getting the cruisers, the destroyers and stuff. You know what, on second thought, we're not going to do the carriers. We're going to do trade interdiction, so let's stick to trade interdiction. So I want a greater emphasis on destroyers. Oh yeah, I never traded for that chromium. Okay. Now the way that it was chosen, who was going to get it, just to wrap up that story, yeah, past the Indian Citizenship Act. Who's going to win the cup? Come on. Detroit. USA. USA. Let's go. Yeah, nice. Back in Hockey Town. +5. So anyway, to wrap up the story, of what was happening. This is just events of more socialists and American First people running for Congress. The committee to decide what was going to happen to those electoral college votes back in 1876, it was composed of 8 Republicans and 7 Democrats, and they voted strictly along party lines to award the electoral college points to the Republican candidate Rutherford B. Hayes, which is why you sometimes hear the joke that the 1876 election, I hope I'm remembering correctly, that's the 1876, was decided by just 1 vote. Panama is pressuring Costa Rica down here. Definitely want to play one of these Central American countries at some point. I don't know who it's going to be. Alright, let's get more cruiser stuff. Whoa, pardon me. We've got May Day riots, International Workers' Day. It's a holiday that the Socialist Party... okay, basically there's clashes. SPA are at fault, or police are at fault. We're going to say the police are at fault. They let it get out of control. They're having a parade, for goodness sake. Let's all calm down. Is trade with Siam, I think. Oh, I'm going to try something here. Or actually, it might already be too late. We're in May. I'm going to start moving my divisions over here to the Philippines because... we get a little lucky, and then again, I should have had them in position already because Japan's going to get a war goal. But I was thinking, maybe Shanghai falls to the triads. We could try to make a play for them. Might be too late though, because Japan also will possibly get a war goal, probably get a war goal. Right, naval doctrine. Let's pick up that trade interdiction just so I don't forget to do it later. But let's see, what are they doing here? Knight of the Monkey's Head. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna try to get our men in position over here. Where's my navy? I have no idea if this is gonna work, but I think it would be cool if I could do that. If I could secure the legation cities. Damn, I should have really thought to do this earlier. Damn. Okay, let's request some Filipino forces. Okay. Let's try to get you here, and yeah, Hong Kong. Hong Kong is owned by the legation cities, right? All right, just double checking. So you guys, you need move quick. This is gonna be fun. Oh, that would be so awesome if I could pull it off. Or maybe if we both invade, we could just split them. I'd take maybe whichever ones I occupy. They can keep whichever ones they occupy. That's fair, right? That's a deal that's fair and square. Annie Keeney has won the Trade Union Congress. Okay. Let's see. So we've got the syndicalists up here. The Union of Britain's going to be a little bit weak if they got her in charge. She never seems to build enough divisions. And they're joining the Third International already, though. Moving quickly. Okay, Coast Guard. Restoring the Coast Guard will ensure trade runs smoothly. Now, what's Mexico doing? Legacy of the Revolution. Yeah, they don't get their events until a little bit later. Special election in Washington. We are going to have John Main Coffey win as the Democrat. Big Bill Haywood also has passed away, so that's some socialist nonsense. We don't have to read about that. Okay. Now, come on, are my people in position yet? Whoops. Manuel Galles has assumed control. Do we have any more Navy here in the Pacific that I haven't deployed? No. Yeah, we have a little bit here. Let's get you disunity within the coalition. All right, I'll take care of that in a second. Let's get you over here, though, in the Philippine Sea for now. All right, the Democratic and Republican parties have long been at odds since they came to national prominence. As we try to keep our coalition party together, a number of Democrats and Republicans have been getting into verbal shouting matches in the Capitol. While they are just minor members, the conflict could destabilize the whole coalition if it is allowed to spread. We can either come down hard on one side or try to force some kind of compromise. Either way, it should end public dissent for now. We will force the compromise. Geez, got a couple of junior congressmen from Who Gives a Damn Iowa arguing, and it's creating a ruckus. Can't. I shouldn't say that. Iowa's a nice place. I hear they have an excellent art museum in Des Moines. Okay, cool. So I've got my people now in position over here. We are going to try to make a play for Fuzhou really quick. Also, I probably should assign these under somebody. Let's get Smedley Butler. You're commando, so we'll have you in charge there. Also, we need a fixed white's color here. I do not like this. There we go. That's a little nicer. And boy, do I hate the teal. Just give me anything but the teal. All right. Next national focus. We're still clipping along here through our naval stuff. We can get some new admirals. We could improve the Marine Corps. That could be nice. You know, the Marines are the epitome of American power projection around the globe, from the shores of Tripoli to the halls of Montezuma. Wait, I feel like that's the other way. The Marines were always there. We should ensure they have modern equipment and training. Modern equipment? Geez, this is a progressive administration. Actually giving money and equipment to the Marines for once? Actually, you know what? Let's not actually do this. Let's come over here. Get the mortar. Just a couple months away from Election Day now. Boy, oh, I'm excited. Wait, didn't they do Night of the Monkey's Head? Yeah, when's it gonna happen? They should. The Triads. It says the Triads are in charge. Shouldn't we get an event pop up about this? Olson's nomination. In a massive rally in Sacramento with leading members from the Republican, Democratic, and Progressive parties, Senator Olson himself came out to accept his nomination as the coalition presidential candidate. This massive rally has been surprisingly well received by the press and those attending it. Hopefully, it could translate to election results. Electoral politics and all sorts of other different politics. It's really interesting. I remember I studied political science, and the professor once gave us some election results for a made-up country, and there's like candidates A, B, C, D, and E for the executive, and she told us, I want you all to look at this paper, go over all the data, and write a paper explaining who wins with 5 different considered democratic election systems. But hold on a sec. Blood on the streets of Shanghai. The authority of the Legation Mandate Council has collapsed in a single night of blood and violence. Street gangs organized by the Chinese criminal organizations have slaughtered many members of the police corps, administrators, and even a handful of the more influential delegates from the legation powers. The survivors hardly dare to leave their homes. Needless to say, with the Triads in all but complete control of all commercial activities, the payment of dividends from the cities has ceased. So for those of you who've forgotten, that was giving me plus 5% factory output, because of this deal over here that, let's see, who's in on this? Well, it's gone now, but it's like Germany, Russia. No, I think Russia got left holding the bag, but it's Germany, Japan, Canada, the United States, etc. All right, well, this cannot be allowed to stand. This is going to cost me some political power, but I'm going to get an annex war goal, which I'm going to put into effect immediately. Actually, not quite immediately. Let's make sure Harding's set. But okay, so I'll tell the story about the election paper later. But we were looking at 5 different. We looked at 5 different election systems. So first past the post electoral college, ranked ballot, etc., etc. And the whole idea was to demonstrate that you understood how the data worked, that you could read the data, that you could then determine which of the 5 candidates would have won under each of the 5 systems. I'll talk more about that another time, because it was a cool paper. Anyway, so everybody's ready to go, right? Divisions are still preparing for your enemy. Well, look, dude, we gotta go. Can't be waiting. Go! Project American power! We must save the world for democracy. Violence against politicians. We got some assassination attempts going on out here. Okay, this is looking green. Got a naval attack penalty here. Let's try to do a little bit of force attack there to help move things along. Where's Harding? Why is it way out here? His ship. That's strange. Come on. Are we going to be able to just waltz right in? Yep. We just walked right in. Look, see, we're the same color. Nobody's even going to notice we were not supposed to be there. Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Okay. How's it going over here? Great heat wave is over. Oh, we're struggling. At least we're keeping them pinned down, I guess. Damn, it's going to take a month, though. All right, Marine Corps is done. Should we just keep doing the Navy stuff? keep clicking along here. Amphibious invasion speed plus 15%. Special forces capacity multiplier. I like this. Faster invasion speed. The Naval Academy in Annapolis was destroyed in the fighting of the Civil War. We still have plenty of facilities able to train a new generation of naval leaders and soldiers. Okay, that clearly was meant to refer to the Second American Civil War. No, they're going to take Ningbo before I get there. Damn it. That's fine. We'll create a... Well, we can't really create a backup plan. These guys are just sucking, though, at taking Hong Kong. It is not happening over here. Oh, we've got logistics. Speaking of which, let's build some infantry, can we? We can build one division at a time. Wow. Okay. Whatever. So, we're gonna... Yeah, we got this over here. Is there any industry stuff? We can wait a little bit on this. Keep going down, grab battle plan for right now. Alright, looks like the Ningbo invasion was stopped. Good. Good. Command power, planning speed plus 400%. Alright, they're almost ready. 4 more days. 4 more days. I wonder if I really should have 3 whole divisions keeping one locked in Hong Kong, but it's okay. They've only got 3 total. Dang, maybe I should go for... No, they're already trying to take Shanghai, and they've taken Ningbo. Damn it. Okay, Alright, we gotta try to get in there first. Fall of Shanghai. It's over. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're just... Look, we're gonna play this fair, Japan. We're gonna split it right down the middle. Got that? So I'm gonna get Hong Kong and Fuzhou and Ningbo, and then you get the 3 in the north. No, they... Fine. I guess I should be fair, and I take these, and you will get the rest, since you technically occupied these areas. Damn, I knew I should have gone for Shanghai first. Wait, what? Oh, that's weird. Okay, wait. Reset. Oh, I'm going to have to do that thing where I pass a million times. Or maybe not a million times, but... Yeah, I'm taking the 2 that I got in Japan. You get the rest. There. I think that's fair. So we are going to be occupying these areas. Cool. So now that that's done, I guess let's bring the Filipinos back home. Now the naval training's done. We'll bring the Filipinos back home, and we will also bring our main army back home. Good job, boys. Alright, Semper Fi, do or die. Semper Fidelis means always loyal. The Marine Corps will always be a bastion of American liberty and democracy and help spread those freedoms around the world. Coming again to save the mother... Wait, no. Let's just get through this election, yeah? Am I going crazy, or did Indochina not break off? Wow. They didn't even collaborate with the local elites. Shouldn't they have broken off in August? Well, hell's bells. All right, 1936 presidential election. The results are finally in from what has probably been the most ideologically contested presidential election the United States has ever witnessed. None of the 3 major parties have secured enough votes in the Electoral College to outright win the presidency, and as a result, the House of Representatives once again has to vote on the winner of the election. This is probably not the end of our problems, but for the time being, the victory goes to, drumroll, Floyd Olson and the National Unity Party, giving a 5% boost to everybody inside of the coalition. And there he is, Floyd Olson himself, who, despite his rural upbringing, Floyd Olson has been able to see the great diversity in America through travel and activism. Yeah, the losers are complaining. That's what those events were. A Shabbos Goy, an IWW stevedore, and finally an attorney pushed Olson towards progressive... That probably was supposed to say, and finally as an attorney, pushed Olson towards progressivism in the 1920s. Olson managed to fall into the Farmer Labor Party after the Progressive Party failed to reach the ballot boxes in 1924. Olson worked tirelessly for the next decade in order to gain allies for the Farmer Labor, stopping only to seek treatment for his stomach ulcers in 1936. Ah, okay, so that's explaining why he doesn't drop dead this year, because I think he dies in 1936 in our own life. So he got it fixed. A surprisingly influential governor of Minnesota and a national advocate for peace catapulted him into the White House on a bipartisan ticket against radicalism. Neat. Minnesota pride nationwide. And Hoover supports us, as he should. Not that we give a damn about his opinions. Okay, so we've got that done. We could work on, let's see, the marine stuff we don't need to do. Oh, can we use this towards the special forces? I did not know that. Or was that something else? Anyway, we're going to let this fill up and keep working on our industry stuff. I want to have a huge industrial machine up and running, which, it's going to take a little bit of time for us to deal with the Great Depression and stuff. But we might have time for one more focus before we've officially avoided the Civil War. Whoops. So we can't come down to America rules the waves yet because we have to get all of this stuff. But I think we could maybe expand the dockyards here. Oh, wait, no, maritime industry. That's some real good stuff. Yeah, I don't need the Air Force. Hell with the Air Force. We're going to focus on the Navy in this game, in this playthrough. All right. Yeah, and let's take a look at, actually, if we come over here to the naval stuff, if we take a look at, for example, one of these things like the Brooklyn Cruiser, they really do have their own well-fleshed-out thing. Thanks to increased funding, the new cruisers built at the end of the interwar period and the beginning of the Second Weltkrieg saw another slight growth in their size once more, while the primary armaments caliber remained with few exceptions in the 7 to 8 inch range. Their firepower was increased further by adding an extra turret or raising the number of guns in each turret that it had not been done in the previous generation. Secondary armaments were further upgraded with further twin dual-purpose guns and even more dedicated anti-aircraft armament, often linked with improved fire controls. This generation also saw the growing adoption of radar systems on cruisers, and of course it has a nice 3D model here, so for those of you who are like real geeks about naval stuff, which is cool, there you have it. Very, very cool indeed. Alright, New Year's strike, just wham, 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 that's what I'm hearing. You guys lost, get over it. Olsen is here to save this country whether you like it or not. I was researching some naval warfare stuff. I was studying World War I naval warfare, and it's so interesting, actually, the difference. So there was a fight called, there was a couple of early naval engagements during World War I between Great Britain and Germany. One was the fight of the Battle of Dogger Bank out here in the North Sea, and then there was another one down here in the Falklands. And it was just so interesting how, oh right, we still have Inauguration Day. Okay, we can do one more. Let's get the Liberty ships. So it was so interesting because after these battles, Floyd B. Olson inauguration, America is one, indivisible. He calls for patience and civility. The Germans and the British basically went in different directions. Liberia asks for aid. Of course we will help. We're nice people. And Germany began to emphasize more quality of their ships, like putting more armor and stuff. And then the British began to just focus on volume of fire in some hilarious and then ultimately tragic ways, which I'll talk about later. Olson deals with Reed's strike. Ending the strike that was launched by the CSA was one of the first priorities of the new president. Olson considered negotiation to be the best alternative, but many believed a strong approach was necessary. Negotiations are best. Units. Oh yeah, I guess let's hold on. Yeah, just start getting these out. All right. Olson and Reed sit down in Chicago. Olson and Reed had sat down in Chicago in an attempt to come to some sort of understanding. It would not be as easy, as Reed and the CSA had some extreme views. Olson hoped that through patient negotiation he could bring the strike to an end. Perhaps there is hope after all. Long demanded to be present at the negotiations. Huey Long had demanded that the America First be involved in the negotiations with Reed to ensure that Olson doesn't give the country away. The presence of Long will no doubt be a negative one, and it may destroy them. He has no business there. Reed puts his demands to Olson. Reed had many demands to be put into effect. He demanded that a livable minimum wage is set, and that the 40-hour work week is set. He also wanted to create a welfare system for the unemployed, and give the trade unions more power in government to overcome the influence of the rich. Whoa, trade unions in the government? How about just some of those reforms, buddy? It's a little too far left for our moderating National Union Party. Note how we are considered social liberals, not progressives, even though Olson himself was from that party. It's about compromise. So, Long protests the reforms. He had seen the reforms as an attack against the very fundamentals of America. He launched a massive protest in the South to put pressure on the government. Olson wanted to respond, but he didn't want to alienate Reed. So we will give Long what assurances he can. Now, MacArthur privately met with the president today and made a shocking proposal: the assassination of Huey Long. Analysis of reports from spies from within the America First Party indicated the entire movement would tear itself apart without his charismatic leadership, and while it might lead to extensive rioting, it was definitely preferable to an organized uprising, which appeared more and more likely as the days wore on. Charismatic leadership. It's powerful. Assassination attempt on Huey Long. It is a short time before noon in Atlanta, and Huey Long is delivering a speech in front of the Capitol building. Suddenly, his speech is interrupted by several gunshots, and he is now dead. Yeah, there's this little clip in The Simpsons, which I think is just so funny. They're honoring the oldest member of Springfield before he died, because now I think it's Mr. Burns, but they're honoring him. And they show a clip. It's like, and of course, he's very famous for having taken a bullet for Governor Huey Long. And then they show the clip, and you see the assassin just shoot 5 bullets into Huey Long, and then the guy jumps in front of him and does the no. And so he just takes the last bullet. It's so funny. Huey Long is dead. With the death of Huey Long, Atlanta quickly descended into rioting, and protests erupted across the rest of the South and Midwest over the course of the day. This is awful, but at least we won't be fighting a civil war. So we should now have... No, not quite. Yeah, we gotta wait for the peace at last to pop up. And then democracy will have prevailed. Reason will prevail! Or democracy will prevail, I should say. Peace at last, with the America First Party broken as a political force and the combined syndicates satisfied with our reforms. The political crisis in the country appears to have passed. The world is still a dangerous place, and our focus in foreign affairs will have to be decided eventually. But for now, we can rest easy. God bless the USA. And I also like that the New Year's strike actually ends now, when it's supposed to. It's supposed to, continuing on for several more months, even though everybody's satisfied. Well, probably not long, but he's dead. So we now have this open. We now go democracy prevails and defend America. Or, pardon me, that we would have been able to do that anyway, but we now have access to fair deal, democracy prevails, and defend America. So we can now get started on dealing with this Great Depression. So thanks for joining me. I'm Conquering History Games. And in the next episode, we will start creating a peaceful America, but one that's probably going to have to go to war sooner or later. Incidentally, what happened down here in Mexico? Okay, it's still Zapata. They haven't done their election yet. So I will see you all in the next one. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you're always notified whenever a new video goes up on this channel. And if you really want to support the channel, feel free to check out the link below at patreon.com/conqueringhistory. I always appreciate any contributions. You all have yourselves a wonderful day. Goodbye.